Finding errors. So 5 questions. Let's look at the first one. The cook quickly come inside and caught hold of the surprised crow. The general tense in the sentence is past tense. So the only verb that is not aligned to the general tense is come. Error is in part 2. The cook quickly came inside and caught hold of the surprised crow. Second, one summer afternoon, the queen and her maid set out for a stroll in the palace gardens. Do you think there is an error in this sentence? One summer afternoon, the queen and her maid set out for a stroll in the palace gardens. You can always, doesn't seem like there's any error, right? In the next sentence, one summer afternoon. Okay, like once upon a time or one fine day. The queen and her maid. Okay, the queen along with her maid. Okay, set out. Set out is a phrasal verb, which means they went out. They took a walk for a stroll. Stroll means a walk. In the palace gardens. Seems fine. No error. Next, why not error? Garden in place of gardens. In the palace gardens. No, which is fine. Because it's a palace, right? You may not necessarily be talking about just one garden. There could be a lot of gardens. See, garden, when I say garden, I could have a garden in the front porch. I could have a garden next to my bedroom. I can have a garden, behind, right? So a garden is only where a place, it could be a sit-out area. It could be a place where I'm probably cultivating or, nurturing some specific plants, right? Of my desire. So, because it's a palace, it's absolutely fine. Okay, moving on. All the hunters stopped in their tracks as the deer they saw was extremely beautiful. Okay, let's look at it part by part and see if there's any error. All the hunters. Okay, so our subject is hunters. We are referring to more than one hunter. So the noun number is correct. Stopped in their tracks, correct pronoun. They are referring to the hunters. Why did they stop in their tracks? As the deer they saw, so they only saw one deer. So was is correct. Subject verb agreement. Extremely beautiful. Adverb, adjective. No error. See, and the general tense in the sentence also is past tense. How do I know? Stopped. My action verbs. Anytime I want to check the tense, I'm talking about action verbs. See, if it's referring to, it's a noun number thing. It's not just one hunter, right? Many hunters. So tracks is referring to all of them, right? In their tracks, step by step. It's referring to all the hunters. So the noun number is correct in terms of a plural noun number. Remember, nouns, if you add an S, it's plural. It's just the opposite for verbs. See, when you say on the track as a expression, it reminds me of on the railway track, right? That's not the context here. Here, it refers to them, maybe they were walking, right? It's referring to the process of them walking and suddenly they stopped in their track. In their track as an expression for walking is correct. Next two, as days went away, the jackal became fat and healthy because the lion was a good hunter and always left a generous share for his friends. So looking at the context, as you read it, only you know where the error is, right? It's pretty easy to follow. Can we quickly look at which part has the error? Pretty easy one. So what's the error? Went by is the expression, not went away, right? As the days went by, meaning as the days happened, right? The jackal became, so day after day, when you looked at the jackal, it was becoming fat and healthy because the lion was a good hunter and always left a generous share for his friends. Okay, the last one. The merchant called out to the villagers in his high voice and it all came eagerly to see what he had with him. So let's quickly look at it, okay? Now the merchant called out to the villagers in his high voice. So in the context, when you say, do you realize that call out is a phrasal verb, right? And it has, remember I keep saying phrasal verbs have different meaning in different contexts. So in this context, call out to someone means you're shouting to them, right? You're calling out to them because you want to get their attention, right? When would you call out to someone? When you want to get their attention. That's when you call out to them, right? So in this context, this guy, that's why the clue phrase is in his high voice. So he's basically shouting to get their attention. Whose attention? The villagers' attention. So the merchant called out to the villagers. So those of you who are saying one, I don't know why it's correct as it is. Now, called out without any preposition. Called out someone means you are accusing someone because they did something wrong, right? So you basically, so when you accuse someone of wrongdoing, right, that's when you called out. So I called out someone. It's 3, right? Let's look at 3 option 3. So called out someone. So I can say I called out my friends because they were incorrectly filling the timesheets. Right? In that example sentence, what I'm saying is I caught them red-handed because they were doing something wrong. So part 1 is correct. So the merchant called out to the villagers, meaning he shouted or he got their attention. And it all came eagerly. What is that it? What is it referring to? He is calling out to the villagers. So obviously, who came eagerly to see what he had with him? The villagers only, right? So why are we saying it? What should it be here? Those who said option 3, what will you change it to? So obviously the error is in part 3. And they all came eagerly. Yeah? Are you getting it? We need the right pronoun substitute. Followed? So as long as you understand the context, you will be able to get it right. So the next one is spellings. Spellings or inappropriate word. So it can be both. It can either be, so in the sentence there are 3 or 4 words that are highlighted in bold obviously. So 1 is there could be a spelling error. 2 is it could be an inappropriate word in the context. Right? I don't think this word is the right word to complete the meaning logically and correctly. Let's look at the first one. The government has permitted foreign direct investment in digital service providers up to a limit of 50%. So as soon as you read it, you know it's a spelling error. Obviously, right? You can't overlook this. Digital. Cut the A. So obviously, in fact, in the options, I think there was a typo error. The right spelling is there in the options, which should be AIL actually. Anyway, so that's where the error is, right? Again, this is a question type where I feel, if you just, it's more to do with attention to detail if you ask me, right? You need to pay attention to the spelling of the words and you need to pay attention to, okay, is this the right word according to this context? Second one, a bank gift card is usually a prepaid card which can be used in an ATM to check the balance, but one cannot withdraw cash. So again, this one, easy again, as soon as it's just viewing, right? Menaka, correct, right? Obviously the answer is 3, right? It should not be check, it should be CHECK, right? He first joined the board of directors 2 years ago and has expressed his concerns at various global debates. The highlighted words are joined, ago, various and global. Now all those 4 words, if I look at it, the spelling is correct, right? The spelling is correct as well as it's the right words in the context, right? He first joined the board of directors 2 years ago, correct, and has expressed his concerns at various global debates. So in this, it's option 5. The vast amount of information available today has created a more knowledgeable public. So my options are waste, amount, information and public. Again, what is, something seems odd, right? Something is off in the context. What's that word? What is the word that is off in the context, right? It's not waste amount. We're talking about a certain amount of information. So the right word should be vast, meaning that much more information is available today, which has created a more knowledgeable public. So one of your clue words is again knowledgeable. It's a positive context. So I don't need this negative word waste, right? So obviously the error is in, or the option that you need to click is 1.